Today we're going to read about one of the very important mitzvahs on page 9, which is Halvayas Hames. Halvayas Hames is escorting the deceased. To escort the deceased is a very big mitzvah. It's one of the big mitzvahs that we read on page 9 in the Siddur. It's about the mitzvahs that we receive the primary reward in the world to come. And one of them is Halvayat Hames. As we know that a funeral is called a lavaya. Lavaya is like escorting. It's not escorting in Jewish life is a very important thing. We don't walk alone in life. We always, every tradition that we have associated with another milestone in life is always with others. We don't celebrate alone. You have a birthday, it's not a good idea to have it alone. Have it with others. There's always people with you and walking with you together in life. That's very important. From the moment the child is born, when a boy has a bris, what do? We have a tradition that we escort the baby into the room. It's called the kvaters in Yiddish. Kvaters are the people that, like the godparents, that bring the child into the bris, to the circumcision, and sometimes you have husband and wife together, and sometimes other people hand it person to person. It's one of the big honors to escort the baby into the room. Now, a baby has no choice because the baby can't go themselves. You know, it's always if they're a bris, you know, they say a bris is like, oh, he's so traumatic. The child doesn't walk for another 2 years. You know, that's how heavy a bris is. But a child is escorted into the room. That is one of the big. It's a big segula, big. It's a good omen for people that bring in the baby. Sometimes they bring a couple who are childless, and they need a bracha to have a child. So one of the great blessings is to bring in a baby into the bris, so that we escort the baby there. Later, when a person is married, Chosn Kala, we read about it last week. We spoke about it. There's always the unterferes, right? So there's the kvata that takes you by the bris, and by the marriage, there is the unterferes. The unterferes are the parents usually that bring in the entourage, that bring in the chosn kala. So again, we escort the person into the. And then in the final moments of life, we have the Levaya, which we escort the soul when it returns back to heaven again. Again, we're escorting them. It's a big mitzvah to walk with there's a procession. There's always a procession by the funeral. And that is, we never let a person leave a person in their transitional moments of life. We always make sure that we're with them together. We help them out, give them comfort, and we walk with them. We walk as a community. So that's one of the very, very big mitzvahs of the Jewish people, is to escort. When you have a guest in your house, so mitzvah, we learned the last few weeks ago, one of the big mitzvahs, of the big mitzvahs of kindness of the Jewish people is to invite guests. When you invite guests, part of the mitzvah of inviting guests is not just to feed the guests, not just to give them a place to sit, a place for lodging, if they want to sleep somewhere, but when the guest leaves your home, you are responsible again to escort the guest. Not tell them the door is there, right? Like a lot of people say the door is there. In the olden days, and I know from my wife Zayda, there's a couple. He was very, very into escorting the guests, to be with them, like, you know, take them, not just escort them, make sure they have a taxi, a way to get home, That's your responsibility as a host to make sure that, that not only did you take care of the guests when they're in your home, but to make sure that they get to the next destination. That's part of the mitzvah of having a guest. The Torah says that if you find a dead body between two cities, it says that there's a whole ritual called Egel Arufa, that the elders of the one city would come out, the closest city would come out, and there was an entire ritual. And part of the ritual was that the elders of the city had to say, our hands did not spill this blood. We are not responsible for the death of this person. So there's a mystery body found between two cities on the road. It says that the elders had to come out to the place of the death, of the murder, whatever happened there, right? And to say, we did not do it. We are not responsible. So the mother asks the question, Rashi brings it in the Chumash. What did they do? What did the elders do? Kill the guy. Why would they say we did not murder this? The blood is not on our hands. By the way, just a side point, parenthetical mamish now. One of the big symbols of the whole intifada now, whole war that's going on in Israel, the big signs that they have in all the college campuses. They think somehow it's some kind of brilliant symbol is the red hands. No, you know where that symbol comes from? The red hands, bloody hands. What was the bloody? Just the opposite of what Jews believe in. Over here, the elders come out and say, our hands are not red, did not spill the blood. And the symbol of this intifada, whatever they call it, of the uprising in all the campuses is the red hand. You see how essentially how it is immoral, how it is unethical, how it is the opposite of what we believe in. The elders of the city, when there was someone that died, they had to come out and say, white hands. White hands. Our hands did not spill this blood. It's pretty interesting. So Talmud asks, why would the elders say we spilled it? Did they kill him? Did they murder him? No. Mother says that they have to say that we gave the person to eat, we gave them to sleep, but we also took care of we escorted them. That we also made sure that the people of our city all have good transportation and a way to get out. And the people in our city take care of our guests, that even when we have a guest, we take care of them. So that's why the elders had to come out and say that we not only did we give the person to eat, but we also did levaya. We escorted the person. So we see how important escorting is. With clean hands, with the white hands, right? To escort the person and make sure that, God forbid, nobody gets hurt along the way and they're taken care of. So you have to make sure when you have a guest in the house, not only you give them to eat, not only you give them to sleep, but you also give them a way to get home. And to walk with them to the door and walk with them to the taxi or wherever they go. Make sure to take this as far as you can to show that you're. And so the same mitzvah applies, which we're reading about today, escorting also the dead. Person passes away. One of the big mitzvahs is not that say a person dies, okay, send them to the funeral home, right? Send them, they'll take care of it. Good people at the funeral home. They'll take care of they'll take care of the dead. We gave it in good hands. No. Not only that the family has to escort the dead, the community has to escort the dead. Everybody walks with the dead body. They go to the cemetery and they give him an entourage. They give him a royal salute. And you can't send a messenger for that. Doesn't help. You yourself need to be there to say goodbye. That's the mitzvah of Avoyas HaMeis, that we need to personally be involved with the transition. We mentioned last week that King David says, walk the shadow of death, I feel evil because I'm alone. You are with me and God is with me. So God escorts, obviously, the death, right? But not only God. Guys, can you hear me? Am I okay? Am I clear? Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can see me. So, okay. Someone says it's stable over here. Yeah, okay. Is it a little better now?
Yes.
A little better? Okay. Not completely. Yeah, it's a little better now. Okay, I'm just gonna check why it's a little. Yeah. Okay, let me just double check over here. Give me a second. I'm gonna double check here. Let me check what's going on here with my internet. Okay. Sure, I'm not sure. Okay, we'll try the best we can. Okay, can you hear me a little better now, or it's the same, or you hear me better? Okay, good. Maybe it was just a little. Maybe it was a plane was passing overhead. So we're talking about the classes continuing about on page 9. You see over here where it talks about Halvayat Mes, about escorting the dead. We talk about escorting. Now, there is another form of escorting which takes place on the last day of the Shiva. We mentioned about walking, escorting the body at the funeral. But there's another less known tradition, which is at the very end of a Shiva. For those that sat Shiva know there's a little ceremony at the end where you walk outside and you walk around the block and you come back. That's how the Shiva ends. Now, where does that custom come from? What's the origin of that tradition? It also has to do with escorting the dead, because it's brought down that on the day of the funeral, that's when you bury the body. That's when you say goodbye to the body that you knew. But the person really is a composite of body and soul. So there is also the soul of the person that's brought down, stays, doesn't go on its journey till after the Shiva. It stays with the family for the 7 days. And only at the end of the Shiva does the soul make its final trek. And so when you walk out and you're walking with the soul, that is escorting the soul at the end of the Shiva. Many people don't know that's the origin of that tradition. At the end of the Shiva, you take a little walk outside. It's really about escorting the soul. So just like you have a mitzvah of escorting the body of the dead, which takes place at the funeral, there's also an idea of escorting the soul, which takes place at the end of the 7-day period. But we know that Jews, how careful we are with giving honor to the body. It's an incredible thing, because we believe that not only is the soul holy, but the body as well is created in the image of God. And so the body is treated in a very special way, and we have to make sure to bury it. As we see now in the war in Israel, how important it is for Israelis, for Jews, to retrieve the dead bodies of our civilians and our soldiers, our hostages. I think no other religion is so obsessed almost with making sure that our bodies are brought back for a proper burial. It's very important for the Jewish people to give that last honor to the body. When one says, what's the difference? The body anyway is going to be disintegrate in the ground, and it's dust to dust. So who cares where the dust is? It could be dust here, or there. No. The body needs to be escorted to its final burial place, and it needs to be afforded and given the proper honor. That body that served as a vessel, as a house for the soul for the 70, 80, 120 years, 180 years, how many years the person lives in this world, right? That body is holy. It's the vessel. And it's not just a vessel, but it's a vessel that was created in the image of God. And we believe, as Jews, that there is also a concept of revival, that eventually the body will come back in the afterlife. So we are very, very careful to give kavod to the body. And here you're saying in the background there, not only an entire body, but even if you have a little part of the body, even if the 9/11, we have one fellow that was from our community. We had a couple, the Glazers. They had a son, Edmund Glazer, that perished in the 9/11. He was on the second plane that went into the Twin Towers. He went from Boston to LA. That was the trip. And it was hijacked, and they went into the. And anyways, for about a year, they couldn't find anything. But then they let the parents know that there was a little bit of the body that was found, enough to allow halachically to have a funeral. And they brought him back over here, and he's buried in our cemetery with the American flag on it, whatever. If you ever go to the Chabad Markham section, you can see his burial places there. And but I remember that for the longest time trying to find it, so we had to go to the parents to take a swab. They took a swab, and that way they were able to identify that the piece of the part that they found, although it was charred and everything, obviously in the explosion of the plane and when it hit the Twin Towers, how much could be left? They found some, and they found some parts, and they were able to identify it only through the DNA. Yeah. And still, we had a whole funeral here. We had the shul. We had a special ceremony. Even though a small part of the body is also holy. Right. Yeah, you have a question. Sonia, you have a question. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. I just remembered I had a discussion with somebody from Israel who's a medical doctor, and he was telling me that he never thought that he will be in charge of trying to find and identify bodies. This is his full-time job now, and he feels it's as important as treating new patients. And he is doing the DNA studies and matching. And he was able to find half the brain of somebody so the parents can bury the girl.
Yeah. Well, that's what's happening right now. Unfortunately, lots of that. And there's the entire organization, their religious organization, actually, that's what they do. Is they go to all these places, and they try, they went there after the in all the kibbutzim that were on October 7th. They went there, and there was only charred remains of many of the bodies there, and they had to find it, bury them. It was quite traumatic, obviously. But the point that we're making over here is that from the Jewish perspective, it is of utmost importance that we treat the body with great respect throughout the life. It's the image of God, and likewise, when a person dies, you have to bury it the way it's supposed to be, and that because that body is so. That's the whole idea of the end, is the end of life. This is the way we treat the dead people. There's a whole group that's called the Chevra Kadisha. They are called the holy group. Why are they the holy group? Because they deal with taking care of burying person. Many people don't know about how much is done to the body at the time of burial, and everyone is given a proper, after they bring the body from the hospital or from the home, they bring it to the funeral home. There's a group of people that they are designated, that they have the obligation, they have the responsibility, or they have the privilege to be part of this group. It's called the Chaver Kadisha, and most people can be members if they like, and they have men for men and women for women, and there's a whole process of the final washing of the body. Ritually, there's a ritual washing of the body. They take water, they pour it on every part of the body, and every part of the body is washed and cleaned. The nails are cleaned. The toenails are cleaned. Every part of the body is the hair is washed. It's an entire process, and while each part of the body is washed, there are special prayers that are recited. There's a whole book of prayers that you have to say while you're doing the washing of the body at the time. And after they finish washing the body, in most places, if they have it, they take the entire body and they put it into a mikveh. There's a mikveh, like just a pool of water that's made just for that, and they immerse the body into the mikveh, and it's done with great honor and dignity. The Chaver Kadisha are trained, and they're not allowed to talk, no talking in front of the dead body, because we believe that you have to give the right respect, and that the soul can hear, and you don't, no nonsense, no joking. It's a serious, very serious thing. Like I say, there's prayers for each part, and then after the body is dunked into the mikveh 3 times, body is dried and placed into shrouds. Shrouds are special garments that are made specially for the deceased person, but they're all the same. Nobody gets different. Everyone, they're made out of linen. It's like just a very simple garment made out of linen. And there are garments for the top part of the body, the lower part of the body, and there's a shirt and there's pants. There's a piece to cover the head, and and then there is a sash, like a gartel, that the person has, like a belt that's placed around the waist, and there's also there are different traditions of what is placed with the body. A few little things. Some people place like a little twig in the hands to remind us of that, because it says somewhere that the bodies will grow like trees when Mashiach comes. So it's the belief in that. So they put a little twig. Some people do that. Chabad, we don't do that, but there's also that there's a tradition of placing little broken pieces of earthenware over the eyes. Also there's sand that's placed from Israel, that's placed inside the coffin, because it says that the greatest honor is to be buried in Israel. But if you're not buried there, at least they put a little bit sand of Israel. They have little packets of sand that's brought from Israel. They bury it in the. So there's a whole bunch. There's many rituals. It's like it always was like a secret society. The Chaver Kadisha, like something very kept quiet, and they're told that they have to be very quiet. I'll talk about anything they see, because sometimes you see things and just give me a second here. 1 second. Okay, so the like I said, the body is washed and taken care of and shrouded. everything is secret. It's a secretive society. They say, what is secretive society? Is like, no one, the Chevra Kadisha, they're not allowed to tell afterwards their spouse or anything what they saw. Because sometimes you see things and whatever, you find because people go through, sometimes before a person dies, there's all kinds of things that the body goes through, and sometimes the parts that are missing and amputated and this and that, whatever. It could be all kinds of different things that different wounds and different. So the Chevra Kadisha has to make sure that everything is perfectly clean and proper. So they have to be quiet. Still, they want to have quiet people. They don't go around telling whatever they saw there. So, but everything with great honor and respect, and then they're placed into the casket. And Chevra Kadisha asks for forgiveness from the person if they did anything that was disrespectful. They ask for forgiveness, and they speak to the body before it goes off. They tell them that you should remember your Hebrew name. They repeat the Hebrew name to him. That you shouldn't forget it. There is that tradition because there is a tradition that when the soul comes up to heaven, the first thing they ask you is for your Hebrew name. Like your identity, identify yourself. And it's brought down in the Midrashim. I don't know how they know it, but the Midrash says it's brought down in Kabbalah that many times the soul blanks out. It just can't remember its name. The angel asks it for its name, for passage, and it forgets the name. So that's why the Chevra Kadisha tells it, and it says, "Sollst nicht vergessen dein Namen." Yiddish we used to say it, whatever. Don't forget your name. Al tishkach Hashem. Don't forget the name. But I don't know why Chevra Kadisha always speaks in Yiddish. Because it's old traditions, right? Sollst nicht vergessen dein Namen. We tell them the name, and then we tell them to go. We tell the deceased to go before Hashem and to ask to bring peace to the world. Mashiach should come and pray for your family, etc. Then they close it up. Some people have a custom that one of the family members come at the end of the thing, and they actually tie the final tie of the garment. So the family they leave open a little bit the casket. They come and there's always a little bit of a debate about identifying the body. So there is in the Gentile world, it's a big thing to view the deceased. Jews, we don't believe in that at all. It's a non-Jewish custom. As Jews, we don't believe in viewing the remains. Okay, so then in the Gentile world, they have it's open and everybody comes and walks by and sees the face. And what they usually do is they also have a person all dressed up with makeup. By Jews, not that. We very dust to dust. We don't dress. We don't. There's no fancy dress. No makeup. No, in the schools where they teach the funeral directors, they learn how to make the person look good. By Jews, we don't have any of that. Very, very plain, simple, dust to dust. However, even though we don't view the remains, sometimes there's a benefit. At least one or two of the family members should identify the person to make sure that the right person is being buried. It's not that it's a common thing, but it could happen in a funeral home or whatever. Sometimes something can get mixed up. So therefore, it's a good idea to identify. One person at least should identify the person to make sure that the person that's being buried is the right person. Like I say, there has been stories, not many, of people finding out afterwards that they buried the wrong person. So it's good. It's a good thing to identify the deceased. Like I say, not viewing. Viewing is forbidden, verboten. But just to identify, like as I said, many have a custom that the Chevra Kadisha finishes. They allow like the eldest of the family to come and to tie the final tie of the garden, of the sash, and then so telling you all these different things because to tell you all about the that how much respect we give. So, like Chevra Kadisha people are usually very, very low-key, quiet people who do one of the most honorable mitzvot to take care of the person at the very end. It's called Chesed Shel Emes. It's called kindness of truth. That's one of the name for usually many of the Chevra Kadishas are called Chevra Kadisha Chesed Shel Emes. Chesed Shel Emes means truthful kindness. Why is it called a truthful kindness? So Rashi explains it's called the kindness of truth because every other kindness a person does, they could be doing it with ulterior motives. And even if they don't say it, every person thinks, oh, one day maybe I might get back the kindness. You do somebody a favor, maybe they'll give you back the favor. But for the dead, it doesn't work that way. When you're doing a favor for the dead, it's a one-way street. I mean, obviously, we believe spiritually you can get back, but on a physical level, you're not going to get anything back. And that's why it's the greatest kindness, because you're doing it just because. So that's why it's called whatever you do for the deceased. It's called Chesed Shel Emes. It's called kindness of truth. It's the truth, the most true kindness that possibly can be. And this is the mitzvah over here, B'halvoyas Hameis, of escorting the dead. We concluded at the funeral. We also bury the person. So it's a big mitzvah to actually be involved in that burial, to be there, to stand there, to be close, and also to actually place the earth into the grave. It's a big mitzvah as well. It's called Kvuras Hames, which is part of the same thing, that to give honor and respect to the deceased. And that's part of the mitzvah. And there's a lot more to talk about this, but this is give you a general idea of this one great mitzvah of escorting. That's what he calls it. It's all included. It's called Halvayas Hameis. It's escorting the dead to their. I know many people have a tradition that they have pallbearers. They call the pallbearers, or the people that you give an honor to hold, to walk mamish with it. But now in Kabbalah, there is a tradition that the children should not walk right behind the casket, walk on the side or in front or on the side, but not to rab mamish, not to for sure not to be a pallbearer. I mean, usually you don't give the children. You give sometimes grandchildren, but not the children. They don't give the children to be pallbearers, and that is because, according to the Kabbalah, the body is escorted not just by the children and by the family and by the friends, but it's also escorted by all the good deeds and bad deeds a person does in their life. So you have physical children and you have spiritual offspring. That those spiritual angels that you created in the course of your life, whenever you do a good deed, it says you create a positive vibe, positive energy in the world. And that belongs to you, has your name on it. That's your child. And unfortunately, likewise, according to the Kabbalah, when you do a sin, when you hurt someone or you do something bad, or you go and you break the Torah, that creates also negative angels. And those angels are present too. And they claim to be the children. So it's brought down that sometimes these negative angels that are there, they tell the real children, they say, you're not the children, we're the children. And they're negative energies. So they could be a danger to the real children. So that's why it says that you don't walk, the children don't walk right behind the casket, because there are those energies that eventually, when the soul comes to heaven as well, the good angels reward the person, and the negative needs to be dealt with also. That's the concept of hell comes from, and all these other things. You need to deal with all these negative things, right? And then a person is judged. If there's more good than bad, he goes to heaven. If the opposite, whatever. That's something we still need to deal with. but it comes along with, it's like a baggage. So it comes along with, it goes with, it escorts also. And that's the language that's used. So when a person comes to heaven, Pirkei Avot says, we don't, their money never escorts them to heaven. Right? That's what it says. The money, the gold and the silver that you make in your life, that doesn't go with you. What goes with you is your good deeds. Your good deeds, that's what escorts you to heaven. That's the positive, and then we said a little bit the negative too, but that's the escort, that's the entourage that goes in. So when the family leaves off and they can't go any further, who goes further? The good deeds, the mitzvot, they come with you to heaven. Okay, so we explained the whole thing of halvayas ha'mes, the mitzvah of escorting the mes. So when you come along and you walk together with the dead body, what does that do? It's creating more mitzvot for the person. Why? Because why are these people there? They're there because you had a positive impact on other people as well. So for the heavens, they give a look and they see, look at all these people that found it important enough to come to the funeral, to be walking the person, because maybe they did something good to them in their life. So it's a merit for the soul as well. The people that come, that walk. So that's why it's such an important mitzvah to go and to escort, because the escorting is a positive energy that's given to the soul to be taken with it in the world to come. Okay, guys, I gave you a lot of information. Now you can digest it. Anyone have any questions?
Rabbi, I have a question.
Yeah.
We were talking the other night. Why do we wait 3 years before we cut a boy's hair?
Okay, it's another subject. We wait because one reason is because in the Torah it says that when you plant a tree, it says for 3 years you shouldn't eat the fruits. It's only after the 3 years. It said the first year, the 3 years, the fruits are not such good fruits in general. But it says that only after 3 years you're not allowed to eat the fruit according to Jewish law. The first 3 years, and only afterwards are you allowed to. So it's a symbol. A person, it says, like a tree. Every human being is like a tree. It says Adam Eitz Hasadeh. So the child. That's one reason. The more practical reason is because when it says when a child turns 3 years old, that's when you start the education of the child. And one of the mitzvahs of the Torah is that you're supposed to leave the sideburns of the head. Torah says that the Jewish way is not to cut off the sideburn. In the olden days, the priests, they used to cut the sideburns off. So what we do is we let the child grow the hair until the upshern, and then with the upshern, we give them a haircut, and we tell the child, look, this part you're supposed to keep. That's one of the mitzvahs of the Torah. So you're able to train the child already in one of the mitzvot of the Torah, which is a simple one, which we do when they're 3 years old. But it's not just the cutting of the hair. It's brought down when the child is 3 years old. You're supposed to teach your child already to say Shema when they go to sleep, in the morning to say Modani. It's all those things that you teach a child to do already at the age of 3 years old. Okay? Have a great weekend. Good Shabbos, everybody.
Thank you. You too. Rabbi, it's so sad. So many people you hear about with this cremation business, and they don't realize what they're, giving up.
They're missing out.
What they're missing out. And I have somebody I know, and I'm trying to convince, and I wanted even to set up an appointment with you, but she doesn't want.
Yeah,
she doesn't want.
But if anyone needs money to help to pay for the funeral, some people think cremation is cheaper, and they don't want to be a burden onto others. So we could organize that if that's what it is. Sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes you have poor people who don't want to be a burden, and that's why they do it. So if that's it, there are people that will help pay for the funeral.
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask, but I don't necessarily think
might
that's
not be
it.
the reason, but other people have this kind of environmental reasons or whatever.
Yeah.
Trust me, the smoke that comes out from the cremation is way worse than the environmental of the burial.
Of
course. Yeah.
Rabbi,
Okay, thank you.
my aunt used to work for the Israeli diplomatic corps.
Yeah.
In her will, she said that should she pass away, I mean, she's not in Israel. They should cremate her body, and she came to South Africa.
Yeah.
And still today, I can see the coffin going into that fire.
Yeah.
Since Isaiah,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant. Let me tell you, I had a guy that once I asked him, why do you want to be cremated? He said, because he's scared. He's afraid that he'll wake up on the ground and he'll want to get out and he'll suffocate to death. You know, so I said, if I were you, I'd be much more afraid of waking up on the conveyor belt going into the fires. You know, than that. He said, I never thought of that. I said, you could be waking up right as you're going into the fires. Anyways, so he said, it makes sense. He changed his mind. Okay.
thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Thank
shalom.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.